That's what I remember about all the women I've dated. I remember definitely we did not have sex. That's the main memory.
Dear Shandy. Welcome back to another Dear Shandy Love is Blind recap, listeners. Hello, Andy.
Hello.
How are you today?
Doing okay.
Okay. What is that, a 6?
Yes, it is a 6.
Okay. And why are you only a 6 today, Andy?
I don't know. Sometimes you can't explain why you're a 6, but you wake up and you're a 6. And you know what? You don't complain. But 6 is better than 5.
Although it's not as good as 7.
No, this is 100% correct.
No, it's true. You're right. 6, it could be worse than 6. Okay, well, today we are recapping Love is Blind, Season 8, Episodes 7 through 9, the second batch. Do we have any housekeeping before we get going?
No, let's get right to the business of recapping.
Okay.
These scintillating episodes.
Oh, so do you want to share your opinions?
I don't. I think I've just shared them.
We'll get there. Okay, so I'm going to keep with my tradition of doing one couple at a time because I think it's very organized and I enjoy it that way.
Trademark. This is a great system you have.
Okay, so we're going to start with Joey and Monica, and we pick up in Honduras.
All right.
Honduras. I've never been to Honduras. Personally.
Nor have I.
Yeah. Are you interested in going to Honduras, Andy?
I don't like to go to countries that have a lot of trouble. I feel bad about vacationing there.
Oh, you feel guilty.
I feel guilty.
Oh, I
don't feel it's appropriate.
I kind of respect that, unless what you're doing is really contributing to the
plight.
Yeah, or the economy.
True. That's one way to think of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually true. You could think of it that way.
But I
still feel guilty. I'm filled with guilt. I live my life with a lot of guilt. And, I go to these places, I feel guilty.
I know what you mean. You feel like there's something wrong about a 5-star resort being on one side of town. And I know what you mean. Yeah. Okay, so with Joey and Monica, honestly, a lot of really cute, lovey-dovey, not even super lovey-dovey, but a lot of laughy.
The way it's supposed to be.
There's a lot of laughing, a lot of banter.
A lot of smiling, a lot of blushing.
I'm going to say right now, and maybe I'm spoiling the rest of this recap, these are the only two where they have conversations where I'm like, I'm into this and I believe this.
I agree.
The banter, the things they talk about, the way they respond to the things that the other person just said.
It's undeniable.
Yeah, and it just feels the most natural.
Yeah.
Like some of the other exchanges, I'm like, I feel like I'm watching actors.
Yeah, you feel like you're watching people doing the things they think you would do if you were meeting someone you fell in love with.
Exactly. Or the things that they think you should do if you're being filmed on a show where you met someone that you've fallen in love with.
It's another meta level, yeah.
Even this, she's brought a noise machine and he teases her for this, but I gotta say, I am a Monica.
You are.
In the noise machine department. I have multiple apps on my phone. I prefer brown noise.
What's the difference between brown and white?
So,
lower frequency?
Okay, this is what I think it is. Okay, so white noise is shh, pink noise is shh, and brown noise is
so it's a lower frequency. It's very good. Thank you for that demo.
It was harder to make this different than I thought it was going to be. I'm not going to turn down a white noise, though. I prefer any kind of steady sound.
You like a full-bodied noise.
Well, I relate to Monica in that the slightest inconsistency or irregularity in sound will wake me up.
Well, this is the reason why I have no problem sleeping. As a matter of fact, I had no problem sleeping during these episodes. But I find the nature sounds to be very, like I cannot sleep. I can't sleep during the rain. Like you never know when the thunder's going to come. You don't know when the whoosh is going to come of the wind or like a sheet of rain.
Yeah, or the
How do you
frogs.
sleep through that?
No, I know what you mean.
That's not white noise.
Yeah, I just want a steady stream of sound. But I'm like her in that if the steady stream of sound stops, I'll wake up. Or if there's no sound and then suddenly sound comes, I'll wake up. Oh, it's awful. I felt for her. I related to her. Anyway, I see you, Monica. I feel your pain. So in another scene now, Joey points out an off-center fireplace. And this leads to a conversation about his OCD. And this was really interesting because I don't know if I would have expected Joey to have struggled with OCD, but he says it was, he thinks it was a way for him to control things when they got out of hand when he was younger with his family. And he said that it became like a numbered system where everything he did, he counted.
This is a fascinating conversation.
Isn't it? I find OCD tendencies like fascinating. And to hear someone be able to talk about it.
That's what I'm saying. I've never heard someone actually explain the origins.
The origins.
Yeah.
The origin story.
Yeah.
No, it's true. And he had clearly spent a lot of time thinking about why he developed it. And I love too when he was like, and just so you know, while you're doing it, you know it's crazy.
Right. But we all have those things. We all have a thing like that.
Yeah.
Everybody does a thing that they don't like. I know this is crazy, but I'm doing it.
Should I reveal mine?
Yeah, what is it?
I do a thing that I've done since I was little. Whenever I scratch something with my nail, I smooth it out after. Ever since if I walk past a wall and I like scratch with my nail, I then like smooth it out.
Oh, that's cute.
I've
seen you do that before.
Yeah, I do.
That is weird.
I mean, it doesn't take too long to do.
That's pretty low level.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like no one's really.
The reason I'm revealing, I'm being very vulnerable with you all, is just to see if people also do that.
OCD sound very stressful.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciated how honest Joey was about this, and then we laughed because in the next scene, the first thing we heard was Virginia saying, "I love chocolate covered strawberries."
And that's where you turn your TV off.
There was such a contrast between the conversations the two of them shared and some of the others. Just saying, not to compare.
No.
Okay. In another conversation, they talk about household chores, folding clothes, and we hear a horror story about her having left clean. She insists clean jeans unfolded on the floor. And when she did end up putting them on, there was a huge spider in the crotch.
Wow. This is horrifying.
Oh my God. His face was so funny.
It was a good face. It was the correct face.
And she, you know what she is? She's a good storyteller.
She is.
She easily could have been like, and then later on when I picked up the jeans, there was a big spider. But no, she put on one leg of the jeans. She saw a big white thing.
Right.
Suddenly she realized there were legs.
And she didn't draw it out too long.
No, it was
She could have told a lot of background to it. Why she had piles of laundry there.
That's true. That's a big peeve of yours when people
get to the point.
Yeah.
Unless the story is absolutely amazing, like it's a yarn, like Ernest Hemingway himself is telling me a story. Get to the point.
That's a peeve of yours.
Yes.
Socially.
I don't like the background. Like, why are you telling me that? That has no relation to the story. It's totally unimportant.
So we're in Minneapolis now. They go to her family home, and her sister immediately turns out to be the sort of antagonist with Monica. I think, she's the one point of interest. I don't want to say interest, but the one person to throw a wrench into things. Yeah. She says, "Why are you single?" to Joey. I got to say, I don't love this question.
I don't love it either.
There's a lot of things her sister did that I didn't like.
Why not say, like, it's so great that you're single. I'm glad you've waited to find the right person in your life.
That question implies that there's something wrong with being single.
It's annoying. It's passive aggressive.
Yes. Especially for the sister who I think has a lot of her own insecurities around singledom, just saying.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so they have a fam jam where everyone chooses an instrument and plays it.
This.
And
every family
Joey,
should have this. Every family should have this.
Yeah, I actually think it would be good for my family if we did this, but I can't imagine a world in which we did it.
Well, we're going to do it.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to start it.
There's a lot of instruments in my house. I mean, we might as well.
Yeah. We've got more instruments in your house than most people's families' houses.
It's true. We never have jam sessions.
Got trombone.
Yeah.
You got like 5 guitars.
Yeah.
What else have we got on there?
We've got a violin on the wall.
Clarinet.
We've got definitely like that. What is that thing? A tambourine?
Tambourine?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
There's a flute. There's a French horn. I'm not even kidding.
There's a French horn?
Yeah. My little sister played the French horn.
Flute?
My older sister played the flute and I played the trombone.
Why are we not having family jams?
I know. I'm a believer. Let's make this happen, Andy. I think it would be good. I think our family we're all a little too
uptight,
too rigid. Yeah,
rigid.
Joey makes a fantastic cowbell reference. This is an SNL reference, and he was like, "You always need more cowbell."
Yeah.
That was funny.
It's funny, yeah.
In general, it goes swimmingly well with her family. He fits right in. We see the famed sock bin, which I gotta say makes some sense.
Socks are socks. I mean, not for me. You mess with my socks, you got trouble on your hands.
I think every family is weird, first of all. Yeah. Like every family has a thing that's weird, right?
Yeah. And even a family that's totally not weird is weird in the sense that they're not weird at all.
Yes.
That's weird. You know families like that? Daniel's. Daniel's family is weird because they're so not weird.
I agree. What can you think of something that's weird about my family?
There's so many things weird about your family.
Okay. Too many to share.
Yeah,
sure.
Why would I belittle your family by spending only 5 minutes talking about how weird they are?
Okay, so now Monica chats with her sister outside, and her sister, it always makes me a little sad when a sister, something about the sister thing. Yeah. If it's a brother, I'm like, okay, you're being an overprotective brother. If it's a parent, I understand. But something about a sister being negative about this process and sort of doubtful, casting doubt on something.
It always feels like it's tinged with jealousy.
Well, okay, so that becomes a talking point. So she thinks that Joey is an actor with bad intentions.
Oh.
And she says something here that I think gives her away. She's like, are you really going to be ready to get married so soon? And Monica's like, yeah, I mean, that's the point of this. And her sister says something about her being 5 years older, and she thought she would be the one to get married first. I mean, this was
Whose fault is that?
Well, also it's whose fault?
Stop being such a pain in the ass.
Why has she been so single?
Yeah, why are you single is the question.
It's funny because this was so transparent that I couldn't possibly believe it to be true. Like, how could she be that obvious?
Was it a joke or was she serious? It felt serious.
I don't know.
Maybe it was a joke. Maybe we missed a very dry joke.
She didn't seem...
No, it wasn't a joke. It was weird.
I can picture her claiming that it was a joke.
It wasn't a joke.
In a future conversation with Joey now, Monica asks how it went with her family. And Joey says it went well with mom. It went well with dad. Sister, not so much. And I got to say, I really enjoyed this about Joey is how nonplussed. Can I use nonplussed here? He didn't seem too bothered by the sister.
Nonplussed is what you meant.
No.
Nonplussed means bothered.
No, plussed means bothered.
No, it doesn't. It's colloquial to say nonplussed is not bothered,
Okay,
but it's
we're just gonna
actually
use
not
bothered.
nonplussed is not bothered.
Okay. He was unbothered by this. I felt like in this moment we saw Joey's sense of self-worth. Like he's someone who I think has worked on himself enough that he wasn't like, oh my God, your sister, I don't know if she likes me.
Yeah.
I don't know what I said, what I did. Instead, he was like, yeah, kind of felt like she wasn't going to like me no matter what.
Also, not something an actor would have said.
That's true, actually. I do feel like if Joey were an actor, he might have tried to smooth things over.
Sure.
Been a bit more like...
Created his own narrative.
Yeah.
Joey tells it like it is.
So Joey asks point blank if Monica's sister has ever approved of any of Monica's boyfriends.
It's a good question.
Yeah, it is a great question. And she says no. And he says that he wonders if there are unresolved jealousy issues, and that's more something between them than having to do with him.
Nice burn.
Okay, so I think the big conversation to be had about Joey and Monica is, do we think that there's any truth to what Monica's sister is saying? Do we think Joey...
No.
Okay.
I don't.
Yeah.
It's also a cheap shot. It's like this is a reality TV show, so obviously it's very common for people to be actory on these shows or have an ulterior motive.
Yeah.
But like Joey is the least likely of all the people on the show to be an actor. So at least give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
like that's a cheap shot.
Yeah, I also find him the most natural to watch. And it's not like I'm the best person at deciphering whether someone's an actor or not. Although I don't think it's that difficult to tell that if he's an actor, he's excellent.
That's the thing. If he's an actor, give him credit.
Yes.
He's good at what he does.
Also, I think that if anyone was an actor out of these three people, would most likely be her sister.
Yes.
Who was like trying to be
gun to my head, I call the sister as an actor.
Yeah.
A plant.
Yeah. Someone trying to be like kind of smart. And
yeah.
like,
She's the plant. She's the one who causes trouble.
Yeah.
That's her role.
Yeah. Okay. So Andy, we'll keep with our tradition of saying 1, 2, 3, yay or nay. Do we think these two will work out?
Okay.
Based on the last 3 episodes. 1, 2, 3,
yay. And you know how I know that? He got past the fact that she puts all her clothes in the closet on top of each other. I could never get past that.
There's something about the sister, when they're talking about the sister stuff, and he's like carefully folding and like refolding some shirts. Yeah. Having heard the story about this crotch
and you
spider.
know that bothered him, by the way, because it bothers me.
Really?
And I don't have a heavy OCD.
Yeah.
If you put all your clothes in a pile in the closet,
yeah.
it would bother me.
Oh, really?
It's weird.
Okay.
It makes me uncomfortable. No?
Yeah, no, I guess it would bother me if you did that. Yeah. I don't know if that would be top bothersome thing. As long as it's clean.
I'm just saying it would bother me a little.
Okay.
And he has OCD. It should bother him a lot.
Yeah.
That could be a deal breaker.
Okay.
But he rolled with it.
Yeah.
Which is a good
which
sign.
might be an actory thing though. Maybe he's pretending he's more okay with it than he is. Okay, so we'll move on now to Devin and Virginia. So in Honduras, there is some joking about the age difference. But I feel like this is where we start to see Virginia's like slight bit of sense of humor. It's really hard to read Virginia.
Hard to read both of them.
Yes.
I know she likes chocolate-covered strawberries.
Yeah.
This I know.
Yeah, we know that much. I'm trying to figure out Virginia and Devin because I would have thought, and we did say this last week, I would have thought based on the big reveal out of the pods that Virginia was not into Devin.
I was 95% sure.
When she said you have nice eyes, it's the shape of
the
them.
shape. Yeah, you have good shaped eye.
Yeah, it just
round.
felt. And I said last week that I felt like, and it's not about the age difference, truly. I'm not trying to make it sound like it's because she's older than him, but it felt like there was a maturity difference.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that I feel differently. I just can't figure them out. I find her super hard to read, and you're right. I find him hard to read too. They both have this sedated quality to them. Yeah. It feels like they're self-editing, and I'm assuming because they're on TV, or maybe they're like this all the time. I don't know.
I think despite the fact that she was an NBA dancer, I believe that was her job.
former NBA
dancer. So that's a very extroverted job. I think that
that's an assumption. That's an assumption.
I know. Okay.
That someone
but I'm laying the groundwork for my thesis here.
Oh, okay. All I'm saying is that people might assume that because I'm an opera singer, I'm an extrovert, but I'm not.
It's a little different with a dancer for the NBA. It's a little more extroverted. A little more.
Anyway, okay.
Make your
thesis.
Okay, fine. My thesis is that she's actually a big introvert.
Oh,
and I think been dating, guys who are kind of like
non-committal,
slick,
bros.
and maybe
I can picture
not super nice.
I can picture,
and this guy Devin is super nice and introverted. And she likes it. I think she at first she was like, I have to do better than this. And then she's like, you know what? This is what I need. And that's where Love is Blind works. I actually am starting to believe in this.
Oh my God.
I know.
I think you're right in that I think Virginia, this is just a hunch, I think she tends to go for a more jockey type.
Yes.
Not to suggest that Devin's not a jock. I mean, he did play really competitive basketball, all the things, but...
Yeah, but he's not the stereotypical jock.
Yeah, he's very like gentle-hearted.
He's a gentle guy.
It seems.
Sweet guy.
But yeah, these two... it's so bizarre watching them because they spend a lot of time, especially in Honduras, talking about how comfortable they are with each other, how excited they are with each other.
There's not a lot of detail.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, so do you have any questions for me?" She's like, no questions.
So,
and then he's like, how do you feel about, getting married in X number of weeks? And she's like, I'm just excited.
Yeah.
It feels very like, but surely there's something more.
I agree, which is why she's either just very mellow and finally found someone who's at her level of mellowness that she's been looking for, or she's really the best actor on this show.
So I made an observation watching them that I feel only more strongly about the more we watch them. It's that first of all, he looks like Keegan Key.
Keegan Key? It's Keegan.
I thought it was Keegan.
Keegan?
Yeah.
That's an interesting name. Keegan. I thought it was Keenan. Keegan Key? Keegan Key? I think you're right. I think it is Keegan Key.
He looks a bit like Keegan Key and acts a bit.
He's Keegan Key.
He doesn't,
with hair.
I guess, yeah. Does Keegan Key not have hair?
He's completely shaved. I mean, he may have hair underneath, but it's shaved.
Something about the two of them when they have these, like I said, sedated exchanges where they're just sort of talking.
It feels like a sketch.
It feels like a sketch. And he reminds me of Key from Key and
Peele.
Yes. Where he's just like this and then he'll suddenly be like he'll suddenly smile with his teeth and I'm like, oh my God, this is a sketch.
It's Keegan Key. By the way, Keegan Key. Let's talk about Key and Peele for 1 second.
Oh, how great.
Give respects.
I know.
This is the greatest show I have seen on TV.
It was.
Since Ali G, back in the day. This is 25 years ago. Can you believe? Was it 25? Oh my God. Ali G premiered 25 years ago, 24 years ago. That's insane.
I never got fully into Ali G.
That's your fault, not mine. But since Ali G, Key and Peele, best TV show. Period.
I don't
take any. I will not accept any counter arguments.
That was a flawless
show.
Yeah, I agree.
I was devastated when they canceled that.
You could tell that they were.
They didn't cancel it, by the way. They decided. To stop.
They decided to stop because I feel like they knew that if they kept going, it wasn't going to be up to snuff for themselves.
They, as artists, were like, we have hit a point where we may start getting less good.
Yeah,
and they were done.
Yeah,
and then he just starts, and then he makes one of the biggest hits in the history.
Peele,
a horror movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Geniuses.
We love
those
Key and
two
Peele.
guys are geniuses. By the way, Upper West Side.
Peele,
Upper West Side native. So Sharleen, I am wearing a bread sock right now.
It's not just breads. There's also croissants on there.
Well, baked goods, all with gluten.
Yes.
And before Wild Grain came across our desk, this was the closest I could get to real bread.
How sad is that? The closest you could get to real bread was bread socks. But Wild Grain is such a cool idea, I've got to say. It is the first bake from frozen subscription box where you can order pastries, breads, and pastas delivered to your door, and then they live in your freezer until you're ready to bake them, cook them, whatever. And this is what's so cool. They have a gluten-free box that they recently launched, which has changed our world. We are obsessed with this thing, especially their brioche buns.
Oh my God.
Like you would never guess they're gluten-free. And they also have a 100% plant-based vegan box as well.
This is what I want to say about gluten-free. Nothing is loved more universally than bread. And it has been for thousands of years. You think people would voluntarily not eat bread if there was no such thing as gluten
Is this
problems?
becoming a gluten rant,
This
Andy?
is a gluten rant.
Well, this is what's so cool about Wild Grain is if you have a gluten intolerance, they have you covered. But also, let's say you have no gluten intolerance and you're like, I don't want to live like that. Their selection, and by the way, it's fully customizable. It's not like you're tied into one type of box. You can customize what you get in your box, and then it lives in your freezer. Everything bakes in 25 minutes or less with no cleanup, and you get you get a fresh baked croissant in your house. Like, what's cooler than that?
So if you're ready to bring your favorite carbs right to your doorstep,
check out Wild Grain and start building your own box of artisanal breads, pastries, and pastas.
For a limited time, Wild Grain is offering our Shandies $30 off your first box.
Plus free croissants in every box.
When you go to wildgrain.com/Shandy to start your subscription.
That's free croissants in every box plus $30 off your first box when you go to wildgrain.com/Shandy.
That's wildgrain.com/Shandy or use code Shandy at checkout.
So Andy, I think we can all agree that we live in a time where maybe you can get a good deal, but you're sacrificing on quality.
Usually a good deal means sacrifice.
Oh, totally. Or we live in a world where you can get quality, but that price tag is going to be like...
I don't even know what we're talking about, but it has to do with Quince.
Yes, we are talking about Quince because Quince has taken over a substantial portion of my wardrobe, certainly my friends' wardrobes. They are high quality wardrobe essentials. And truly the quality, we've got to touch on this. Like even the stitching, even the fabric, you can feel when there's quality in like your handbags and your clothes. Quince cares, yet their pieces are 50 to 80% less expensive than their designer counterparts.
There's two lines. There's price and there's quality.
Yes.
Quince has met at the very mathematical end. You can't outmatch them on these two levels.
It's so true. There's another point too, which is style, because sometimes, you'll get quality and you'll get good price, but it's like, okay, but that's dated. Like I would never actually want to wear that.
Quality encompasses that. But yeah, I agree. It's a good point. That's a good point.
I am currently wearing the Quince Draper pleated pant. I also have several shirts from them, dresses from them, accessories. I even have their cashmere pill brush thing.
Oh yeah, you like that.
I bring it with me like it's upstairs.
I know, you've talked to me about it. And I know what people are thinking. They're thinking, oh, well, their manufacturing practices must be questionable.
That's what you would think, but Quince only partners with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, and they partner with those factories directly. They cut out the middleman. So basically that little label that you're used to spending a really inflated price for, they cut that out, and that's how they pass those savings on to you.
So give yourself the luxury you deserve with Quince.
Go to quince.com/Shandy for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns.
That's QUINCE.com/Shandy to get free shipping plus 365-day return.
Quince.com/Shandy. So as much as I think these two could work, I do wish there was more banter.
There's very weak
more
banter.
Laughter, more giggles. I don't know.
No
it's
giggles.
like I said, just feels sedated to
agree.
me. Okay, so now in Minneapolis, Devin brings Virginia to his apartment and she brings him to hers. Her place is gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Like ridiculous.
Yeah.
They talk money. She openly says she wants to be a millionaire. I actually really love, this is where Virginia's, the edge to her that I know exists and that I've been wanting to see comes out is it's around money.
Yeah, she likes money.
Yeah, she likes money. She's like, I want generational wealth. Like she gets that out of the way. And then, and he talks about his debt. And she talks about, maybe one day helping him pay his debt off. She says, whatever helps the team win. First of all, I love that sentiment.
Yeah.
But it's just funny. There was something like emotionless about this conversation.
Yeah.
I just feel like they're really aware that they're on TV. I can't figure them out. I don't know.
And I also, I don't want to, first of all, prenups, totally no judgment. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think
Oh, yeah. She does
prenups
very
are
openly say
great for some people.
Yeah.
Some people don't work, but I have no judgment against prenups. But I will say that it does slightly fit into the narrative that she's an actress.
Oh.
She's trying to protect herself in case she wants to go the whole way.
Oh,
and
so
then
you
pull
think
out.
the fact that she is so steadfast about a prenup suggests that she's not there for the right reasons?
I'm just saying that if I was someone who wanted to go through this process as far as I could, get as much as I could out of it,
Yeah.
I would definitely want a prenup. So I want that marriage to be basically meaningless in the end.
Yeah, I'm torn between agreeing with you and also just thinking people are allowed to want prenups.
Yeah, or she's very sharp. She seems like she's got a handle on money. That's what I think. Yeah.
And I like this about Virginia because, like I said, Virginia, she's hard to read. I'm kind of like, what's going on there? But then when money comes in, she's like, I want to be rich.
She's into, let me tell you, like, Virginia's into money.
Yes.
In the least, like, obnoxious way.
Yeah.
She's like, I want money.
Yeah.
And she wants it in a very responsible, understandable way.
Yeah. I think it made her the most relatable and like human, actually, when they spoke about money.
Very honest.
So now Devin introduces Virginia to his family. And here we see just how much religion might be playing a role in this dynamic.
Yeah.
As to be honest, it's been touched on here and there, but with his family, they talk about going to church and how his parents really raised them that way. That seems to be pretty major.
Well, that's often like the hidden glue of some relationships.
Yes.
It's like you just don't see that because they're not talking about it.
I also think
much.
you might not see it if you're not necessarily that religious. Like
Right.
you don't speak the language.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's a club. It's
Yes.
like, oh, you're part of oh, wow. Yeah, me too. Okay. That's
Yeah.
good. We got that out of the way.
Totally. His very sensitive sister says, you're a bit older. What do you with kids, are you going to just try right away?
What the hell was that? Chill pill.
Okay, the prenup thing comes up again. I honestly think that the prenup thing is blown out of proportion and has more to do with the reaction that Devin and his family has to it than Virginia's insistence on wanting a prenup. I know you think it might make her an actor, but I also think everyone is within the right to want a prenup.
I completely agree. Especially when he leads with how much debt he has. I feel like she's got a nest egg. I think she's doing well. She's managed her money well, it seems like. And I don't know. He claims he has enough money to buy a house, but then he talks about having all this debt.
And he's buying $700 sneakers.
And he's buying $700 sneakers. I want a prenup and I'm not even marrying this guy.
How funny was that when they were talking about things they spend their money on frivolously? And he's like, well, and this just, for me, it's just the sneakers.
Yeah,
like
just one
pair every 2 months.
Sometimes twice a month, sometimes 75 times a month, but no big deal.
The sneaker thing cracks me up because I don't feel like he wears those.
I think, talk about OCDs.
But I think they're like limited edition or something.
Okay.
Is that what it is?
Maybe I just don't appreciate sneakers that much.
Yeah, well, you definitely don't.
Yeah. But I do think that that's a little bit of an OCD. It's like you need, like, once there's like, if you have like 20 pairs of sneakers, it's like you like sneakers.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Uh-huh.
But if you have like 100 or 150, 200, then you've passed you've broken the seal into OCD. I think now you're like, I need to keep getting sneakers. I can't miss the newest sneaker.
This is my thing. I'm a sneaker collector.
You're defined by sneakers.
Yeah, you're defined.
Yeah.
Sort of like how Taylor's defined by Taco Bell and Christmas. Okay, so in general, Virginia says everything right. I will say the most actory thing, in my opinion, that Virginia does is not the prenup thing. It was the answer to the question, what would you be open to our parents one day moving in with you?
Ooh.
And she was
that
like,
takes
yeah.
That takes a little more thought.
Yeah, she says that nursing homes are scary, which, I think that there is some truth in that.
Yeah,
but
there is.
the fact that she's just like, yeah, I'd be totally open to that. I was like,
no thought.
Really?
He's like, would you be open to giving both your kidneys to me in the next 2 years?
Yeah, I felt it was a little too good to be true. Like she said all the right answers no matter what, including I would help him with his medical bills and that stuff with his debt. It's not that I don't believe in that. I just feel like everything she says is exactly the quote unquote right thing to say.
She's definitely playing her cards for the altar.
Yes. They meet Pico the pig. I felt like we needed more Pico the pig personally.
I agree.
There's a hilarious moment where his dad checks his watch. I think this meet and greet went on longer than he expected.
You know what? This was how we were all feeling about these 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Her dad checking his watch. That was us.
Yes.
He was us.
Oh, well, this is before it even gets bad.
By the way, that pig. Pig.
Yeah.
Pig has a good life.
100%
You know,
Pico.
pigs are very intelligent.
They are super intelligent.
And they have the closest thing to human skin of any animal. Do you know that?
Do we have to talk about this right now?
And they also have the closest thing to human genitals to any animal.
Really?
And
I did not know the genital bit.
And I'm very sad about the plight of the pigs. I think it's one of the saddest things in the world. And you know what's even more sad is, as much as I have sworn off meat, we are pescatarian, I still have dreams about pork products.
Yeah,
and
bacon.
it hurts my soul.
I know what you mean.
They taste so damn good. Why, if there's a God, why do you make pigs taste so good?
You're stealing my line. I'm the one who said this to you.
Oh, I think we've shared this opinion.
But yes, in general, we believe that, to bring us back to God and religion, we believe that a God that would make an animal as intelligent as a pig taste like bacon.
Well, I'm going to have a conversation with God right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to be me and God.
Okay.
Right. God, I'm glad I have this time to have a conversation with you.
Why are you looking at me?
Well, I have to look at somebody.
Well, look.
You're God. You're God.
Okay.
Right. God, thank you for giving me this time. I know this is very rare. Most people don't get this kind of special time. I want to ask you, if you are a, almighty and all powerful and all forgiving and loving God, benevolent God. I've got an assistant here. Why would you make pigs, this intelligent, delightful animal? Why would you make them taste so good? And now I'm God. Well, Andy, this is what God would say. I think this is what I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Andy, I made them taste so good because I wanted to see if you humans would eat them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dark.
And you did.
Oh.
And I still forgive you, but I wanted to test you and you failed.
Oh, man.
Thank you. Excuse me. I have to finish wrapping my conversation. Thank you. That was an excellent answer. Mm-hmm. And I hope to have another conversation with you someday. Take
amen.
Care. Yeah, right. Is that what you say when you say goodbye to God? You say amen?
Yeah.
Or just see you later?
I'm pretty sure it's amen.
Okay. You say if you're talking directly to God?
Okay. Can we move on, Andy?
Yes.
From God?
Yes.
And bacon.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to move on to Daniel and Taylor now. Oh, wait. Do we want to do 1, 2, 3? Do we think that Virginia and Devin will work out?
Oh, this is a brutal one.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Yay.
Nay. Oh.
You said nay?
I said nay.
I think we should think of the yay and nay sound similar.
I think that's the point.
Maybe yes and no from now on.
Okay, so you think yay. Wow.
I think yay. Barely.
Okay.
51% yay.
All right. Okay, so we'll move on now to Daniel and Taylor. So we pick up with Taylor confronting Daniel about the Instagram follow/unfollow gate. Oh, this was kind of painful. This was painful.
Yeah.
It was painful on many levels. First, Daniel insists he did not recognize her when he'd seen her, like right after the pods. He denies remembering following her on Instagram. He says, I would have told production. I would have told them that I think I know who she is. And she's doing that thing where she's treating him like he's guilty. And we were convinced last week, Andy, that she wanted an out. She was just looking for something. I love how conveniently a producer materializes to give her her phone.
Yeah, just just having to be in the wings.
Yes, because it turns out she has an app that it's called the unfollow app or something.
Isn't that just Instagram? What?
Why would you download that app? That you are a glutton for punishment. You want to scroll through to see who unfollowed you?
I got to be honest with you. I'm going to judge every single person who has that app. Every single one.
Well, it's not that I'm judging you.
Unless it's your business.
I don't feel, no.
Even if it's your business, who cares?
I'm not judging that person. I feel sorry for that person.
I feel bad for them, but I'm judging them.
It means you're spending time scrolling to see who unfollowed, like that.
You're
why would
right.
you? That's bad
it's
for
a pity. I don't judge them.
That's bad for your soul.
I feel sorry for them.
Yes.
I pity them.
Yeah. And honestly, I hate to say this. to me, it tracks with Taylor. I said last week that I want Taylor to just like be her true self. And maybe I'm optimistic that we're going to see Taylor find herself through this experience or something. Because I said last week that I just feel like her identity is a little wrapped up in like, how many Christmas trees can I fit in this one bedroom apartment? And how much do I love Taco Bell? I'm going to get a tattoo. I'm going to go to these extremes on these things that just aren't her character. Like, who is she? What is she as a human being? And I feel like even the fact that she has this app that she honestly seemed fairly well acquainted with, to scroll through to see who has unfollowed her. I just want her to like give no more.
That's a lot to ask. I think she's going to give a lot of for a long time.
I think she cares what people think too much. And she's a lovely person. She's lovely. I just want her to like shake it off, let it go. You know what I mean? Like
maybe
be who she's meant to be.
Maybe you want too much.
I do want too much. Okay, so she asks, does anyone have Wi-Fi? And they both go, Bueller.
Yeah, Bueller. Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
So I didn't get the reference though between the Wi-Fi and the Bueller.
Oh, because it's hard to explain.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's going to be. I'm just going to leave for everybody else to be like, we know what he's talking about.
Well, because I've seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I just don't.
You don't remember when the principal is like on the intercom? He's like Bueller, and he's not there. He's not at school. He's out doing Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
So it's the fact that no one replied right away to the "Does anyone have Wi-Fi?" So there was silence.
Yeah, he's making a movie reference.
Can I say the fact that they both said Bueller in this moment, I was like, oh my God, they're meant to be.
Talk about cutting the tension. I mean,
right?
He just took it down from DEFCON 5 to nothing.
I felt like the fact that they said Bueller at the same time should have been the moment that she was like, forget it. I don't need to scroll.
Who cares? Even if he did follow me.
Yes.
Again, to the root of the problem. Who cares if he followed her?
There are so many who cares
if
issues.
He's still following her?
Yes.
Who cares? Who cares?
I agree. So she scrolls through the app. I thought it was so cruel that they made him sit there while she did this. She says, lost a lot of followers. Wow. Who cares? Who cares? I'm in the era of my life of who cares? Who cares if people stop following you? They were never your people.
Didn't she gain a lot of followers too?
I'm sure she's gaining plenty.
Yeah.
She eventually cannot find his name, says that she feels crazy, and he holds both of her hands and says he promises he didn't know who she was. And the whole scene, I would be cringing if I didn't feel bad for how I think she has a tendency to self-sabotage. And this was like, it was such an extreme way to self-sabotage.
So there's a lot to unpack here.
Yes.
Number one, we thought that she was doing this as a way out. She thought she was just using this as an exit.
Yeah.
Turns out maybe she wasn't. Maybe she really did think that he followed her. And that leads to the question, do we think that he did follow her? And I think we should do a 1, 2, 3. Because I don't even want to hear you break it down. I just want to know what you think.
So there's two factors for me in answering this question. Yeah. On one hand, I think it's so extreme for her to have thought of this and for it to be completely false, like so out of the blue.
I don't want. That's why I don't.
Okay,
want to unpack.
I'm just playing.
I want to hear your opinion.
I'm just putting out my two theories. Okay, so on one hand, I'm just like, is she that inventive and that much of an overthinker? You know, she did say that she's the dean of the Overthinkers Club? No, the president.
She's the president.
Of the dean.
Or the dean, that's fine.
But she's such an overthinker that she would just like
invent. Is a crazy thing to invent.
Okay, but on the flip side, from what I learned about Minneapolis in these 3 episodes, is that it's a very small town vibe. People know each other.
I agree.
Friends of friends. There's only so many degrees of separation. People are all talking about each other like they're in high school. And so on the other hand, I'm like, it is possible that...
Listen, there's 2 things. One is he followed and unfollowed her.
Yes.
The other is she's Hannibal Lecter.
Okay. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, yay or nay.
Yes. So yay for she's right. And nay for she completely
made it up. Yeah, she's Hannibal Lecter.
Or she's wrong.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Yay.
Even though there's no evidence.
He followed her.
You think so?
She's not that crazy. And if she wanted an out, she could have just said, no, I don't want to see my phone. I know this is what it is.
Yeah.
Why did she ask to see her phone? She's basically blowing her own cover. She asked to see the phone, but she really genuinely thought it was.
She didn't ask to see. I have to correct you. She did not ask to see her phone. Like I said, a producer conveniently materialized.
That is true.
And said, "Oh, Taylor,
yeah, but
she could have your phone."
She could have said, I don't care. I'm done. I know he thought.
Taylor's not that person.
You're
Taylor
right.
doesn't refuse the phone.
You're right. I didn't think that one through.
Taylor doesn't refuse the phone when offered the phone.
She doesn't refuse the phone. And that now that I'm thinking about it, the fact that she kind of sort of strolled through it without haphazardly, kind of just.
Oh, I think she was looking.
You think she was looking?
Yeah.
She was looking. So I say I'm going to stick with Ye.
I'm sticking with Ye.
I think he followed her.
Want to know why I'm sticking with Ye?
He looked nervous.
The only reason I'm saying Ye is because the whole Shayna is too cringy for me if she's completely made it up completely. So I'm leaning into the fact that Minneapolis has a small town vibe. It's totally possible that you follow, unfollow people. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. We're going to move on.
And he did seem very guilty.
He did.
I will say.
I think that anyone would feel guilty in that situation where they're being. She was accusing him. She was accusing him hard.
His response wasn't to me hard enough. It wasn't. It wasn't angry enough.
100% sure. You have to cover your bases.
If he wasn't 100% sure, that means he 100% followed her.
I think that it's possible that he did. And that she just didn't catch
That's
it.
why we both said yay.
So, okay, Daniel, I mean, his level of patience is through the roof. I mean, he really, really loves, I think he really loves her.
Even if he did follow her. And what I will believe is that he followed her and doesn't remember what she looked like.
Yeah. I think that a lot of people follow and unfollow each other.
He's
all
a
the
follower.
time.
He follows everybody.
Okay, so I do think Daniel is.
He's a follower, literally.
He's a follower.
Yeah.
I think that whoever he ends up with, whether it's Taylor or someone else, he's like the supporting character.
Yeah, she's
he's there
the Pied
to tell
Piper,
her,
and he's the bird. Was it birds, squirrels? What follows the Pied Piper? Everything, all the animals.
I thought it was like
woodland
children,
animals,
not children.
No, I think it's woodland. All the woodland animals.
Woodland animals.
Yeah, the animals.
Yeah, I feel like that's the role Daniel plays. He's the type of boyfriend, husband to tell you every day how worthy of love you are.
Yes.
But he's not the one at the helm of the ship.
Agreed.
And that's, to be honest, I think that might come home to roost at some point with these two.
Yeah.
Because I think Taylor, as much as she appreciates him, she goes on and on about how thankful she is for how patient he is. And, in Honduras, she addresses this again. She says she feels really bad. I think that his undying dedication and understanding of her, as wonderful as it is, I think Taylor is a sort of nice guys finish last girl. I picture Taylor growing weary of Daniel's undying devotion to her.
I agree with this.
I think she likes a little more of a roller coaster, and I think that's why she kind of creates loops for the roller coaster to ride on. Personally, I'm happy to be wrong about this. I would be thrilled to be wrong. Okay, so in Honduras, it's just a lot of them talking about how glad they are that they came. Very surprisingly, she buys a Christmas ornament on every trip she goes on, Andy. I actually think out of all the Christmassy things, that's not a bad one.
That's cute.
Because then you're reminded of the trip.
Yeah.
And now in Minneapolis, they talk Christmas trees. There was a moment here. She's like, how many Christmas trees do you think we can fit in here? And he's like, I think we're good at two.
Yeah, two
Christmas
is
trees.
definitely the most.
And she says something. Oh, yeah. He says, I think you can take it. She says, leave it to me. This is what she says. Leave it to me. And she makes a joke about just give me your card. And he makes a joke about, I'll find out when I see the bank statement. And I just thought this was interesting. And maybe this is a cultural thing, but how it was just automatically assumed that she would go buy all the Christmas trees that he doesn't necessarily want with his credit card.
Is that
just a cultural thing, right? Is it
me, or is it possible that Daniel's family is rich?
Oh.
And I do not want to in any way claim or assert that Taylor is suddenly smelling money. I don't want to do that. I am not doing that. I know people are thinking that. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying, just for argument's sake, is it possible that Daniel comes from money?
I will say it felt like it.
Okay.
But I feel weird talking about that.
We don't have to talk about it.
Okay.
That's it. I just want to put it out there.
His parents' house was noticeably spectacular.
Daniel feels rich.
Andy, when we met his family, you called them very waspy.
There's a lot of waspiness happening.
But waspiness doesn't necessarily mean wealthy.
No, it does not.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just because they're wasps. I think they're wealthy. I think I just felt like the specter of money seems to have crept into this room. That's my feeling. That's all. It's a little feeling.
That didn't occur to me, but I do tend to be a little oblivious to that stuff. So, okay. That's interesting that you picked up.
Feeling.
Yeah, I just thought, to me, what struck me was like the culture. And the only time I've ever really observed this personally is when I have visited friends in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And I noticed this culture of men automatically buying things for women, whether or not they were dating them or even romantically interested in them, but just like socially, it was like over his dead body, would the man allow the woman to pay for something?
There's some cultures, absolutely.
So to me, something about this off the cuff reference to her taking his card and him seeing how many trees she bought based on the bank statement just stood out to me. Well,
that's the thing about this show. As Monica's sister said, there are probably a lot of actors. It's kind of like a Clue, like a game of Clue.
Oh, yeah.
Like who's not the actor. And you have to take these little tiny pieces of evidence. Very little.
Colonel Mustard. In the library.
Yes. It was Colonel Mustard.
With the candlestick holder.
It's always Colonel Mustard. It's always a candlestick holder. But you have to take little tiny bits. Once an episode, you get a piece of real something. You're like, wait, what's that? And this was that for me.
I agree. Okay, so we meet his family now at their spectacular home. Taylor, I gotta say, was very good at this. Taylor's a good meeting the parents girlfriend. Or fiance.
Yeah, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah, she was like observing, there's no shoes in this home. She said the right thing.
I like that.
Me too.
You know what I like? I like when someone sees the shoes outside our apartment and they're like, of course I'm taking my shoes off. It's not that you just have ornamental shoes sitting outside the apartment.
It bothers me when someone just waltzes right in.
People who waltz right in with shoes, I immediately judge.
Yeah. Well,
more than any other reason. They could say something extremely politically upsetting, or do something very offensive to me in another way. But if they walk into my house without taking their shoes off, without even thinking about it, full judgment.
Or without looking around, being like, "Oh, is it okay if I wear my shoes in the house?"
Yeah, we live in a city where literally every inch of the sidewalk is covered with dog shit and piss, human shit and piss, possibly. Take your goddamn shoes off.
Do I have to remind our Shandys that when I first met you, you wore your shoes in the house?
I don't know what you are talking about. Slander. This is slander.
I grew up in a no shoes house, and then I indoctrinated you, and now you're all on your high horse, but you didn't used to do this.
The things we judge about other people the most are the things we judge about ourselves.
It's so true. Okay, so Daniel's family, they are mega sincere is what I wrote in my notes, and they are very into the whole process. They approve Taylor. They're into it. Yeah, sold.
Sure, done.
Okay, and now Taylor introduces Daniel to her parents. Oh, Andy, you loved this scene. I have never seen Andy struggle more to stay awake than he did with this scene. It was, oh my God, it was like a clown car of boringness.
It's got to be a record how many times I fell asleep.
It was insane.
I fell asleep like, 7 to 10 times during that?
Yeah.
It was insane. I tried, and you know what's amazing about it? I literally got up and I was like, you can do this. You're an adult man. You can make it through the next 5. I didn't even give myself 10. I was like, you try 5. Start with 5.
It went way too long.
I was like, you can do this. And I would shake my feet and I would grit my teeth
and
I would open my eyes. I took my shirt off to get more like lower the temperature.
Yeah.
Still fell asleep. And then I'd wake up and be like, wow, I can't believe
it's still
that
going.
I was asleep.
I
tried my best to not sleep.
And just when it seemed like this scene was coming to a close, suddenly Daniel's parents arrive. And it was like double the trouble. Okay, all right, let's go in order. Oh my God. To me, this whole scene felt like, wow, we don't have enough drama this season. That party in Honduras where they all meet each other was so upsettingly uneventful that they probably lost footage. There was nothing to talk about. There was no flirtation, no drunk, anything.
Who cares?
And everyone was just talking about how much they loved their significant others. And so I think they needed to fill time, and unfortunately, this scene.
This was not the right way to do it.
Okay,
I'm going to say this right now.
What?
I'm going to say it because I really believe this. I'm not. This is not hyperbole.
Okay.
This was the most boring 30 minutes of TV I've ever seen in my life.
30.
And when I was a kid,
I don't know if it was 30 minutes.
When I was a
it
kid,
felt like 30 minutes.
It was close. It felt like 6 hours. When I was a kid, I used to watch like on Christmas Eve. I always liked Christmas Eve. It was a nice, holly, jolly
Eve
time of year.
is in some ways better than Christmas.
I used to watch it was on Channel 11 in New York. This was a long time ago. The Yule log. It was just a fireplace burning, a real fireplace. They just shot. And I used to watch that for sometimes 10, 20, 30 minutes.
Oh my God,
this was
so cute.
Far more boring than that.
That is so cute. Well, because fire is never boring.
Fire is always changing. This was not changing. This
Had
was
there
dead
been,
on arrival.
Had there been an active fireplace in the room that we could have watched, maybe this would have been less boring.
Yeah.
So the gist going into this is that Taylor's mother is struggling with the process. At the heart of it, I was trying to pinpoint what her mother was so upset about. I get the impression she and her mother are really
close?
Yes.
I was hoping. If I got that wrong, it'd be very embarrassing.
Yeah, I got, kind of like a best friendy, like sort of like almost like very heavily involved.
Enmeshed.
I get the impression that Taylor tells her mother everything. Her mother touches on feeling left out of the engagement. She feels like she wasn't a part of it. And even later when Daniel's parents do come and Taylor's mother asks Daniel's mother, how are you handling this? And Daniel's mother says, well, there comes a point where you can't tell your children what to do anymore. Something about that felt very poignant. Yeah. It felt like they are maybe a little too close. Because there does come a point, I understand, okay, you can have your misgivings about the process, yada, yada, yada. It's season 8. Are we still really going to go on and on about this? I felt like Taylor's mother was making it a little bit about her and not enough about trusting her daughter's decision making.
Well, I'm impressed that you can sit here and analyze this scene.
Well, some highlights, Andy, from watching this. I wrote about Andy. Andy can't stay awake. He's ripping off his shirt. He's calling the scene so horrible. Okay, so Daniel's parents do arrive. It's a big meet and greet. Oh, this is painful. They talk about renovations, wanting grandchildren to visit their big houses.
You know what this was?
Wedding anniversaries. Oh, how long have you been married? We've been married this long.
This is the kind of thing that you once in a while in your life have to do in your real life. And you're just like, this is horrible. I can make it through this. All I have is like maybe another 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I can go have lunch somewhere and be done with this.
You're already thinking about what you're going to order.
Right. But they're making us who pay now $18 a month for Netflix. They're making us actually live through this. Yeah. This is entertainment?
Yes.
Don't do this to me.
Okay.
I deserve better.
Okay. But wait, there's more. There's more, Andy. Daniel sits Taylor's parents down. He has taken notes. Daniel is a very studious fiance, I will say. He sits her parents down to ask for their permission, quote, to move forward, which of course Taylor's mom loves because now she's included. This. And that brings us to the end of this scene. Thank God. Okay, so Andy, 1, 2, 3, yay or nay? Do we think these two are going to make it? 1, 2, 3, nay. Oh.
Yeah. It's close though. Close call on that.
Oh, so why?
I think the initial sin of her accusing him of following her and unfollowing her just gave me too much information. About her intentions and her waffliness.
Oh, her overthinking.
Yeah, like she's about to let it go because maybe he followed her or unfollowed her.
Yeah, but they've spent more time together since then. They had a great time in Honduras.
I know, and then maybe he has some dough. But I still say nay. Close call. Very close call on this one.
So for the same reason that I'm saying nay, which is that I think that she wants more spice, more excitement.
When have we seen them making out?
Oh my God, it's so true.
Would you marry someone you haven't had a good makeout session with?
You're right. I'm not seeing a lot of like physical electricity.
They're like at best brother and sister.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that Taylor is going to say no, and it's going to be because she's just not. Yeah.
It's definitely Taylor who says no.
Yeah.
Rocket money. It's so amazing that it's not funny. Rocket money. It's something good to have, so get rocket money.
I love rhyming rocket money with rocket money.
Fail safe.
It is good for your wallet, Andy, rocket money. Maybe it's keeping money in your wallet that should be staying there and not bleeding out on subscriptions that maybe you signed up for and then forgot about, which we all do.
Yeah.
I was one of these people before Rocket Money came along.
Rocket Money is one of those things that everyone should have, because why wouldn't you have it?
You know, Rocket Money is like having an umbrella. It's like you don't not own an umbrella where you just think that it's just never going to rain.
Right.
You have to protect yourself.
Also, I do love the emails I get periodically that say, was this you? It's a pretty big transaction.
Oh, yeah. So Rocket Money, they protect you in all sorts of ways. On one hand, they help you identify and cancel with only a few taps subscriptions that maybe you forgot about. They also monitor your spending for you, so they keep an eye on things. And they also, this is the best part, they help lower your bills. So you can literally take a picture of your bill, send it to Rocket Money, and they will negotiate on your behalf. They will even deal with customer service for you. So you're not,
I mean, that alone is worth it.
I know.
You know, Rocket Money is one of those apps where I feel like it should be required, like car insurance. When you buy a car, you got to get insurance.
Yeah.
When you live in America, you should have Rocket Money.
Yeah, that's a better analogy than my umbrella. So Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings.
Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved $500 million in canceled subscriptions.
Saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features.
So cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money.
Go to rocketmoney.com/Shandy today. That's rocketmoney.com/Shandy, rocketmoney.com/Shandy.
So Sharleen, I have a bone to pick with you.
Oh yeah? What?
Where's my Factor?
Oh.
You're supposed to order Factor this week.
I have a confession to make. I have slacked on my Factor ordering, partly because I'm juggling 2 jobs right now, Andy.
No, it's true.
I'm rehearsing every day, working on the podcast, but
priorities.
I know Factor, which is our fresh, never frozen, prepared meals delivered directly to our door, which live in our fridge. And because they've never been frozen, they don't have that sad to the food.
No, we all know what texture you're talking
especially
about.
to the vegetables.
The colors. The sad colors.
Is there anything sadder?
I don't like a gray green bean.
No.
Green beans, last time I checked, were green.
Yes.
That's why they're called green beans.
The broccoli still has that like bite to it.
Yeah.
What's so great about Factor is you can choose from over 40 options spanning 8 different dietary preferences. So let's say you're vegan, they've got you covered. Let's say you're keto, they've got you covered. Let's say you need more protein in your life, they've got you covered. And the food just has that quality taste. We've talked about the restaurant taste. They've got like neat sauces. And sometimes the sauce, you heat it up, right? You just heat it up because it's never frozen. Never frozen. Doesn't take long to heat up.
Doesn't take long.
But what I love too is that certain sauces, they'll be like, leave that sauce out.
Yeah.
That sauce should stay cold.
They care.
Yes,
It's
care.
a meal.
Yes.
This is not functional.
It's
They're
not
not
just
just
food.
giving you like a Soylent Green.
Yes.
This is a real meal.
It's not just gruel.
Gruel.
You said Soylent Green.
Yeah, I don't know why I went that far. It's people.
Okay. We know it's people. Go to factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code factorpodcast at checkout to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping.
That's code factorpodcast at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
Okay, so moving on now, Andy, to Dave and Lauren. Okay, so in Honduras,
Nay.
she has gotten a bikini wax. Oh, this is so weird. I feel like this sets the tone for the two of them, for this whole batch. She says she's gotten a bikini wax, which unfortunately means no sex for 24 hours. And she says she's, quote, bummed because she wanted to do that. And his reaction to this is like,
Yeah, what was that?
What is with these two? The chemistry-wise, I couldn't feel it out because on one hand, throughout Honduras, Dave seemed bothered that they weren't having sex, but at the same time, it didn't really feel like he wanted to have sex with her.
I think Dave...
It's like he was bothered by like the concept of not having sex with her.
Dave wants to have sex, but he doesn't want to have sex with her.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And I think when she said that, generally speaking, I'm trying to put myself in his shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking if someone who I didn't want to have sex with was telling me that, oh, it's too bad we can't have sex because I got this thing done, I think I'd also feel a little like tongue-tied.
If you didn't want to have sex with
If I didn't, I'd be like, oh.
Well, and not to spoil what we think here, but I think one of the reasons Dave doesn't want to have sex with Lauren is I think that he sees her as a sort of virginal, we talked about motherly, nurturing.
Yeah.
We're going to get to that. But I think he has Lauren on a specific type of pedestal that is incredibly non-sexual.
Yes, I agree.
And he even says during one of these conversations that he's never married the emotional connection with the physical connection in any of his relationships, meaning he's just always been only been interested in the physicality of women if he's had sex with them.
This guy, Dave, is not on national television going to find his way in this department.
No.
It's not going to happen.
No.
He's still in that place.
Yeah.
He's still looking for just the physical.
Well, he claims that he's like a man of integrity now.
You're going to trust this guy?
Oh my God. If anyone trusts him, like that's on them.
Shame on
on them.
Yeah.
Okay. Lots of stroking though. And I wrote this kind of stroking is overrated. Like he's always like touching her, like
Same
stroking
spots.
the same spot, and like moving her hair, touching. And I was like,
Yeah. It's making your skin
Dave,
crawl.
yeah, Dave in general makes my skin crawl.
Nice.
And so I confess I might be projecting my own with him.
But you I know what you mean. Like you don't want the same place stroked over and over again, no matter what the tempo or cadence of the stroking is.
Yeah.
You want different places.
It was just like
stroked.
a mindless stroking. It felt like he was like making physical contact with her because it was going to make him look interested in her or something.
Well, it's like when
or
someone who doesn't really like dogs is like petting a dog.
Oh, it's so true. What a good example. And you can tell by how they're petting the dog that they're like.
Yeah, they're just kind of like petting it the way you like. It's like they're kneading dough or something.
Yeah.
They're not really involved emotionally.
In a later conversation, Dave says he has been very picky physically, and he admits to looking at.
Until now.
Well, here's the thing. Lauren is gorgeous.
I know, but he's clearly saying like, "Oh, I'm willing to compromise now."
This whole conversation, he's like, in the past, I'd see a girl on a dating app, then go look at her Instagram, and then be like, never mind. And he's like, which that's not a way to be, because then you miss out on a potentially great connection. How could you hear him say that and not read between the lines of him saying that he would
says
not
the
have
things out loud that you think to yourself. That's what Dave does.
It's so
if you're
true.
a jerk,
it's so true. Later on a boat, these two talk a lot about how they slept, how they sleep in bed together. We get it. He can't stop talking about how often she pees. Okay, we get it.
Yeah,
she pees a lot in the night. Okay.
Again, a slight neg and a throwing her under the bus.
Oh, Dave negs her constantly.
Yeah, no woman wants everyone in the world to know how many times she pees a night.
Yes. So in a confessional, Dave says that they have not had sex yet, but I've seen her naked.
All right, Dave, good for you.
Who says this?
No one.
What is his problem? He is so misogynistic.
I can think of people who would say this, and they're not good people.
He talks now, okay, this is on the boat. This is them talking to each other. He talks about how she hasn't done anything yet that has made him be like, oh, F that. And then he says, except maybe the hair, because she's wearing pigtails that day.
Oh, Dave.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. I can't stand this guy. Who says that? That is not funny. That's not funny. If you don't like her hair, you just don't say anything.
Dave.
He wants to hurt her. He's nagging her constantly.
Operates at the highest level of confidence and dickishness.
Yeah, but it's not real confidence, though.
No.
If he were actually confident, he wouldn't do this.
That's what I'm saying. He's a confidently dickish.
Yes. Wait, so he's
not really genuinely confident.
No, definitely not.
He's at the highest level of confident dickishness.
So here we learn about these two guys. This becomes a big thing, especially one guy later on. But Dave reveals that he learned from Lauren that she casually dated two guys until going on this show. And he's acting like it's an issue.
Yeah, who cares?
For him. We both said, who cares? This ends up becoming a thing. We both felt here, Andy, that he's looking for his out.
This is his exit.
Yeah, he's found his out. Okay, and then he asks her on the boat if she's nervous about him going back and talking to Molly.
What the
and
hell?
And she says, are you nervous about going back and talking to Molly? And he says, I've just been thinking about it. That's our episode 7 cliffhanger, but oh my, he is such a negger. He's like an old school. He's like a guy who read the game. He's like, oh, how do I make a girl feel shitty about herself so that I can bed her?
Dave is not a nice guy. And Dave thinks about himself constantly. You notice how many times he asks people questions?
He does all the talking. And the only time he asks other people questions, it seems, is to ask
in relation to him.
Yeah, or for information about himself.
Yeah.
Like when he's like going around the party asking everyone if they've had sex yet.
Right. For himself.
Yes, for himself.
Yeah.
Or with Lauren, he just doesn't really ask like they're not conversation questions. She's asking him questions and then he's going on these long-winded answers and she's just going, yeah.
The least interesting people I've ever met in my life are the people who ask no questions.
It's so true.
It's always the same.
The fewer the questions they ask, the less interesting they are.
Unless they're super famous, in which case they just don't care.
Well, because curiosity makes for an interesting person.
Yes.
Because their curiosity
but also
has expanded their horizons.
Empathy.
Yes.
Caring about your life.
Well,
You're with another person.
Dave does not have empathy. Okay, so now we have this big group party where Dave goes around asking pretty much everyone whether or not they're having sex. And the fact that he goes up to the women to ask
instead of the men, yeah.
No, he does it with both, but I found it so cringy. First, he's talking to Devin. He knows that Devin and Virginia are not having sex because he heard it from Devin. Yet, he still goes to Virginia and is like, so I hear you're not having sex. Like, that is just so gross.
That's like voyeurism. It's weird. It's like fetish.
It was so inappropriate. Yeah. Like, stay in your lane. Like, I can understand, okay, a guy with guy, like maybe you're bros, I understand they lived together in the pods. Like the men are like roommates, right? Former roommates. But to go up to Virginia, who he's never met in real life and be like, so I hear you're not having sex with Devin yet.
And what's the point of that?
God, what a creep. Okay. So now we're in Minneapolis and the big talking point to start off with these two is that Dave's family, namely his sister, basically people he was nervous about telling this experiment to, or the result of this experiment to, have already heard because apparently Minneapolis is Minneapolis. Yeah. He says it's Minneapolis, I guess. I supposedly everyone just talks about.
What's the population of Minneapolis? Is it tiny? I don't know.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Does it not have a small town vibe? Like I can't even imagine.
I assume there's at least 500,000 people in Minneapolis.
I was sort of struck by this, to be honest. Yeah. I couldn't believe how news about whomever had spread like rapid fire in this town. It just felt like a town. Yeah. It didn't feel like the big city that I'm pretty sure that it is.
Twin cities.
And now Dave shows Lauren his place. Such a dude pad. It's got like one Miller Lite in the fridge. There. And they have a meta conversation now about her family's paranoia about the show, being on the show. And she quotes them as saying, they can twist what you're saying. I love a meta moment where they're talking on the show about the perception of the show that they're on. Yeah. There's a lot of that in these episodes, I will say. And now we learn more about this guy. This guy ends up playing this unknown guy. This guy. Do you think we're ever going to meet this guy that Lauren was hooking up with, God forbid, before coming on the show? So Dave, in his confessional, says that when he came back, his friends were like, oh, the girl you're with now is dating or was dating a guy that we know. And Dave is like, so upset about this. Yeah. Apparently, they hung out the Friday before the Sunday where they all left for the show. And the guy even lives in the building where they're all staying now.
Coincidence, who cares?
And Dave is so upset. He doesn't know who to believe. Even his sister knows about this. So now there's the spin class scene where we meet some of Lauren's friends. And I think this is pretty important because her friends are really good at not only defending Lauren about the other guy thing, but giving specific examples. One of them in particular is like, I know this guy. I've known him for years. And if they had actually been dating, like if he was a boyfriend, we would have all hung out together. That never happened. Both of her friends are like, to be clear, this guy wants to be on TV. And of course, Dave is like, oh, that sounds true. I just don't know who to believe. Oh, I'm trying really hard. He does a lot of that. Lauren ends up crying. She feels helpless. And it's so painful. It's like, where's the trust? Where's the trust? Like,
Zero.
He just wants to play. Honestly, he loves playing victim. Oh. He says he's spiraling, trying to figure out what's true. He's 32. He's not in high school. And I love this. Lauren's friend says.
He is in high school, by the way.
I know he is. And Lauren's friend says, that's what I wonder about your friends. His friends do feel so high school.
So high school.
I'm so sad we didn't meet them in this batch of episodes. Because I was ready to judge.
Yeah.
Like, I had my judging cap on.
You got your cap and your gavel.
Okay, so now in this final scene, this is after the Daniel Taylor parent scene, and Andy, you said, oh, thank God. Finally, some juice. Okay, so Dave reveals, so she's expecting his friends to come over.
Yeah.
She's like preparing
She's got cheese and crackers ready.
She's got hors d'oeuvres. And he's like, oh, my friends are on standby. So they're not forced to make things awkward. This guy creates problems. What isn't it?
Who would want to date this guy? Who dates this man? He's got to fix himself.
She says she doesn't understand why this is still impacting their relationship.
Thank you.
And he keeps, I wrote slut shaming her because I do think he's slut shaming her.
Full on slut shaming.
He's fully slut shaming her for hooking up with a guy 48 hours before coming onto this experience.
I don't care if she hooked up with a guy on the plane to the set.
Mile High Club. She says, how does that make me not ready to be here? And I wrote, yes, girl, defend yourself. Because she hadn't been doing much defending of herself before that, like not fighting back. It was more like crying. And
she's single.
I know.
She's a young single woman.
Yes.
Why cannot she not have some friends with benefits before she goes on a reality TV show?
I know, Andy.
Where she may get married.
Andy,
and that's it.
Andy, you said like he's such a choir boy.
Right?
And so this, to circle back.
Talk about throwing stones in a glass house. I'm sorry, that was before glass house stone throwing.
Yeah.
Big problem these days.
I am convinced, this is what I was talking about earlier, that he had her on this pedestal, this virginal pedestal.
Yeah.
She's like clean,
Madonna.
pristine. Yes. Remember when he proposed, he talked about her mothering, nurturing character.
So this Dave, he's got some problems.
He does.
He's got some problems. He's got to work out. He's got to be in therapy.
Well,
and I think
he
there's
doesn't
a good
see
Dave.
women as equals. You think he would judge a man for hooking up with a girl 2 days, 48 hours before this experience?
No, this is a lot of bad stuff.
I love how he's so innocent. He's like, I haven't had a girlfriend in like 4 years.
Oh, good
and how
for
he
you.
stands in the room.
Incel.
She'll be like crying, like telling her side of the story. And she's like, your friends are not speaking facts. I was there. I know what I'm talking about. These are the facts. And he's just like, I don't know. Like, just like say something. Why are you hurting her like this?
Is that her teammate? Is this the teammate she wants to saddle up with for the rest of her life?
I know. She's a puddle of tears.
Slut shaming her.
I know.
Claiming virtue because she hasn't dated someone in 4 years because no woman would date him, but he's an asshole.
True. So she's a puddle of tears again. He claims he's struggling knowing they'll be in bed and, quote, this is something she was doing right before coming here.
Unbelievable. This guy, how did he think this was going to be okay?
It's been a minute since I've seen someone like slut shamed so
people
overtly.
Have talked about slut shaming on the show before, and I'm like, hold my slut shaming beer.
Yeah, this is
the slut shaming.
This is very
hardcore.
Yeah, and it's very obvious. And what's funny is I think we both think that he's been looking for an out.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, that's the question. This is the $64,000 question. Is this fully him looking for an out and he's just riding this? Or is he really upset by this?
No, he's not.
So you think he's just looking for an out? Which in a sense gives him a little bit of a pass on this character judgment.
Wait, why?
Well, because maybe this is all BS. Maybe he doesn't care at all.
Yeah, but he's still slut shaming her.
I know, but you could say it's worse or it's better.
No, of course it's worse.
It's worse because he's just acting the role of slut shaming. If he's just slut shaming
her to himself, that's like in his mind. Right. That's his problem.
So he's chosen slut shaming as his exit. He's like, oh, let's see.
Yes,
I have many choices here. I'm going to choose slut shaming.
Because the man isn't growing a pair.
Right.
And just ending it because he doesn't feel it.
Right.
I think that he is not actually that bothered by this unless he really just does have such a misogynistic way of thinking that the idea of her having sex with someone else, like this is possible. He definitely...
Is it possibly a little bit of both?
Yeah, maybe.
How could you stake your flag in this hill so hard knowing that no woman is going to look at this and be like, oh yeah, that's cool.
No, but this is what's messed up is I think Dave is so backwards that he thinks that tack is making him look better than just ending it because he's not into her.
Double bad. It's worse than if he was doing either or.
Yes.
So he believes what he's saying and he's using this as his exit plan. So it's the worst case scenario.
I mean, everything about Dave. It's like, all of the above. All of the above.
You're right, because he would never commit so hard to this thinking that the whole world would look at it and be like, you're an asshole. Why are you doing this? You look terrible. He's doing this because he thinks this is a virtuous thing to do.
I think so.
And he's looking for an exit plan.
Yes.
So he's acting all wounded. Terrible.
Yeah, I think he thinks that he's going to come off looking good.
Wow.
I know.
Oh, Dave.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Dave.
It's incredible. He says he doesn't think his friends should come after all. And she's like, can they please come so I can talk to them myself? You know, see, if he respected her as a person, he would be like, yeah, absolutely. But instead, it's like he's keeping them all separate.
He's treating her like she's a misbehaving dog.
I know.
He's like, I don't want to have company over because the dog barks and shits everywhere.
But he insists he's trying to work through this. And she says, what do you want to do tonight? And he does that thing I hate where he's like, I don't know. I don't know.
Passive and an asshole.
He says,
Bad
I'm not
combo.
trying to walk away, but I also don't know what else to do. I genuinely think he thinks that this is like his out.
Yeah. People are like screaming from the rafters, you go, girl.
It's so dated for him to think that this could make him look good.
But he's not
I'm like,
old
where
enough.
has he been for
he's
20
not
years?
old enough to think that's impossible.
So
he's too young to believe that this is right.
Is this like a bro-y Minneapolis thing then?
Maybe it's a cultural thing. I'm not aware.
I will
No one
say-
I know who's 32 years old would do what he's doing.
Yeah. I will say on the whole, the season as a whole feels a little buttoned up.
It does. A little conservative. Conservative socially.
Yeah, I don't mean for it to sound like a political thing. It's more like there's just like a...
No, it feels not political. I'm
Yeah.
just saying it feels like people are a little more pearl clutchy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way Devin reacted when Brittany said she'd been with women. And he was like, oh,
Yeah, maybe-
I don't know if I was ready to hear that.
Yeah, okay. So you want to just get to yays and nays?
Okay. Yay or nay?
Is this really worth it?
No.
Do we have to do this?
No, we're not going to do it.
We're not going to do it.
We're
Not going to give him the dignity of a yay or nay.
I hope that she ends this with vitriol. I
Yeah.
hope that she walks away with like flames blazing
She's
behind
going to
her.
walk. But I don't know if it's going to be with flames. She's too nice.
He deserves flames.
He deserves flames.
He deserves to be humiliated for how he's been humiliating her.
I don't know. I think she's going to do it with extreme
Oh,
niceness.
God, I hope not.
Unfortunately.
Okay, Andy, that brings us to our final couple, Ben and Sara. So in Honduras, they're very lovey-dovey. These two are lovey-dovey.
Yeah.
So much loving and doving.
Yeah, there's been a lot of loving.
There's a lot of like kissing each other and like looking at each other like this.
You know, I wouldn't have put it on the very religious guy to be banging right out of the gate
And talking about bang.
and talking about it.
Yeah.
Which makes me think maybe he's up to something.
There's a...
Maybe he's not what he appears.
these two in general, I just get acting vibes. I said this last week.
Acting vibes too.
It feels like they're like, oh, there's cameras in the room. Look how in love we are. Look,
Yeah.
we'll pose in front of the mirror together. Oh, do you like your hand here or here? Oh my God. And then
I
when
agree.
he pulls out his fan and knocks over a glass of water and they're like, oh, like it's so funny that he knocked
It's
over
so
this
hilarious.
water.
Knocking over water, we all know, is the funniest thing you can do.
These two, I'm not buying it.
I agree.
I just don't, I'm sorry. Maybe I sound like a Debbie Downer with them. It's just,
It feels staged.
It
It feels
feels
like
staged.
if I can see the action happening.
yes.
When they start talking about anything.
They both get a twinkle in their eye.
Yeah.
There's just something about them.
I've been on to him, Ben, from the beginning.
Yeah, you have. And I will say Sara does it too.
A little bit. Less than Ben, but a little bit.
Yeah. You know what they are? They remind me of a line from a John Mayer song, early John Mayer.
Ooh.
I think this was the Room for Squares album. But there's a song called Comfortable where he sings about
song.
how comfortable it was with his ex and how he says, I'm dating a new girl. Oh God, I'm going to butcher this. But the line goes, she poses for photos that aren't being taken.
Yes. Good.
And
I like that.
That's what Ben and Sara are for me.
I agree.
The one thing we learn about them in Honduras that really stood out to me is that Ben only washes his hair every other week.
That's a lot of not washing.
I mean, I like to push it in the no hair
I push
washing.
it too.
Yeah.
I go 4 or 5 days. But 2 weeks, I could see I couldn't stop looking at his greasy hair.
After that.
You could tell if you touched his hair, you know what it would
Yeah,
feel
I mean,
like.
his hair looked good. It
It looks good.
It went
but
from looking like product to grease.
Yeah, it's grease.
So now in Minneapolis, Sara and Ben meet his friends. This is the first and only time the religion, like equality thing comes back. I love how those things are like one and the same.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, basically his friend confirms that Ben doesn't like the term religion. He prefers the term faith, which I have to correct because in my recap last week, I kind of gave him crap for that because I felt like he was saying that only to appease her. But it turns out he actually doesn't like the term religion. He does prefer the term faith. So I stand corrected.
Yeah.
But in general, this is a giant love fest. All his friends are talking about how great they are. They're so great together. Okay,
good.
so
Everything's gonna work out
let's
well.
get to the interesting part. Okay, so in the final scene of this entire batch, there's a lot of laughing and smiling. They're so happy together and they say, we get to do this for the rest of our lives. So we did a funny thing and highly recommend if you've got some free time. Andy, you made us rewatch the scene imagining that they were actors and we couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah.
Everything about it, them kissing, and you said, watch this part where he says, "Oh, do you need a refill?" So they're on the sofa, and he's like, "I'm getting another beer. Do you want a refill?" Yeah. And she's like, "Oh yeah, sure." Like everything about it.
It's a scene from a horror movie,
or just to me, it
or
felt
a thriller.
To me, it felt like a soap opera.
Yeah, or a cheesy soap opera.
Yeah.
But a soap opera where that's the point of the plot is happening.
Yes.
Where like the turn.
Yes.
Like, ooh, we're throwing a wrench in here.
Yeah, where they go from talking about how they get to do this for the rest of their lives
it's Act 2A.
Yeah, to her going at a TikTok. She does it twice. I thought at first that it was...
what's this TikTok that just appeared on my phone?
I thought at first that it was the same gasp replayed from different angles, the way they do on what show do they do this on? They do this on Singles Inferno, where there's a reaction. It'll be like from like 3 different angles.
That's funny.
That's what I thought was happening here, but I think they were 2 different gasps, which made it also the whole thing less credible. But it turns out that a TikTok has come out from some woman in Minneapolis talking about how she doesn't like how this show celebrates men who are dicks, who treat women poorly. He comes over. She's like, "Do you want to watch it together?"
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't she say, "Do you want to watch it?"
This whole thing is staged.
Even this, who says that? "Do you want to watch it?"
This scene is staged, period.
Do we think it was like fully? I don't know if this is that kind of show.
They staged this.
The thing about these two is that they give such actory vibes that's how it feels.
Does this feel real to you? Is this how this unfolds in real life?
I mean, I agree. So Ben now volunteers. He's like, "I think this girl's talking about me."
That's a good guess.
Everything about this. He's been so squeaky clean, and suddenly he's like, "Oh, this is about me." Although he insists that he hasn't talked to this girl in 4 years. He honestly just can't remember what happened.
No recollection.
And Sara, to her credit, is like, "How can you not remember?"
I do not recall.
I appreciated how she called him out on this. And he gives some kind of like vague story about maybe ghosting this woman. Maybe they never had sex. He insists, but he can't remember. He can't remember. The one thing he can remember is that they didn't have sex.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I remember about all the women I've dated. I remember definitely we did not have sex. That's the main memory.
He says there might have been a DM or something, but he didn't reach out. But he can't remember.
Oh yeah.
My favorite line here is he says, "I do love you, and I do feel like I want to marry you, and that we can live forever."
Does he have a potion?
A potion.
Yeah.
Sara says she doesn't want to dismiss the girl, and this entire batch of episodes wraps with her saying that she needs Ben to tell her everything. All right, Andy. So we knew Ben was too good to be true.
Yeah. Too good to be true.
Yeah, these two, I'm just not buying it. I'm sorry. No. As much, you know what it is. I always talk about show, don't tell. Joey and Monica show us that they're a good couple by their conversations, their banter, how they laugh about random stuff.
Yeah.
I believe them as a couple because they show us. They're not telling us. I feel like Sara and Ben are always telling us how good a couple they are.
I agree.
They're telling us how in love they are, how attractive they find each other. It's too much. Just be happy together. Don't tell us how happy you are together.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay, so what do you think's going to happen, Andy?
I think this will probably blow over.
What?
Yeah.
You think that? Yeah. Oh, I hope not.
It'll blow over.
I'm going to say I need a couple to end.
This is not.
Is that sick of me?
I completely agree with you, but this is not going to end it.
I need a couple to break up. This is it's getting boring because I don't believe.
I'm telling you right now, they knew at Love is Blind that this was a boring set of episodes. And they knew they needed something
Yeah.
to put some spice at the back end of this.
Yeah.
And this is the best they got, and it's not that much, and it's going to blow over. I don't think that they're going to get married, but I think this is going to blow over.
Okay, so nay for you.
Nay.
A strong nay for me as well.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Andy, we will keep with our tradition of doing who would we go for? This is hard for me because Alex is gone now. And you had Molly last time.
I know.
We were hurting.
I know. It's going to be a rough one this time.
Oh, I have to think about this. Okay, I have mine.
Yeah. Let me just give me one more second.
We have to guess for each other.
Oh, this is a tough one. Okay.
Okay, can I guess for you?
Yeah.
You would go for Monica.
Yes.
Okay,
Good guess.
Want to guess me?
I'm going to have to go Joey.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean.
Okay, so that's the couple. We would basically swap with them.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Okay, if you enjoyed what you heard today, you know what we will ask of you, and that is to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow us on Instagram and
TikTok.
Leave us Apple and
Spotify.
Podcast ratings and reviews. Tell your friends and generally do all the things you would do to support a podcast you enjoy. Puppy time. Ruby. Oh. It's when she's happiest is with both of us. Okay, go back to your seat. Okay. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Dear Shandy. Bye-bye.